The Agraines were a fierce tribe from the region which is now modern-day Western Bulgaria. Known for their fierce warriors, the tribe was subjugated by the warrior king Philip II and would go on to become a highly specialised division of the Macedonian army, especially under the command of Philip II's son, Alexander the Great. The Agraines were famed Javalinmen, specifically serving the role of Peltast in the Macedonian army. Peltasts were a form of light skirmishers employed by the Greeks to supplement their heavy infantry lines. First developed by the Thracians, the Greeks were exposed to this type of light infantry when several colonies along the Thracian coast started employing them as mercenaries. As a result of how effective these Thracian peltasts were, they gradually became a go-to for Greek skirmishers, even outshining archers. The Agraines were simply the best peltasts available to Macedon at the time. For maximum mobility, they wore little to no armour, often being depicted as wearing little more than a cloak. This gave the Agraines the ability to cover terrain extremely quickly, as they were not weighed down by heavy armour. Speed was after all the name of the game in skirmish warfare, so the lighter the troops were, the faster they could run. Wearing little more than a cloak meant that the Agraines were some of the fastest skirmishers the Greek armies ever put on the field. However, the Agraines were not entirely without armour. They are often seen wearing the Phrygian helmet. This helmet was so named because it resembled a type of hat usually worn by the Phrygian and Thracian people. The helmet was made of bronze and was often decorated with elaborate cheek plates. This helmet provided excellent protection from downward blows, whilst also providing a good amount of shade from the sun at the same time, allowing the Agraines to be more accurate with their javelin throws. In terms of defence, the Agraines used a type of shield called a pelte. This is where the name Peltast comes from, as the skirmishers were named after their shields. This shield was made of a tough wicker, which provided surprisingly adequate protection. However, tough as it was not resilient enough when pitted against the weapons of heavy infantry. However, it was light enough that the Agraines could still be fast enough to weave and dodge incoming missiles. For weaponry, the Agraines were armed with several light javelins, as was the Peltast way. These javelins often had a leather strap attached to them, which made throwing the missiles easier. Agraines are often portrayed as carrying spare ammunition in their shield hand, thus allowing them to be covered from incoming missile fire when they essentially reloaded. Agraines were also armed with a short stabbing sword, most likely the Xiphos. However, they were also known to carry small axes or knives. This meant that the unit could defend itself if necessary, and unlike other skirmishers, their fierce warrior upbringing actually gave them a decent advantage over their foes despite the lack of any real armour. The Agraines first distinguished themselves as the skirmishers under the commands of the Macedonian general Attalus, where their ability to quickly move through mountains proved to be advantageous when fighting the Persians. They later joined up with Alexander the Great's invading army and would play a pivotal role in defeating the Persian chariots at the Battle of Gaugamela. Following Alexander's death and the subsequent rise of the successor kingdoms, the Agraines found regular employment in the armies of the Antigonid dynasty. One of the last mentions of the Agraines in combat is during the Battle of Raphia, where they served as an elite crack unit for the Seleucid king. The very last known mention of them was during the Third Macedonian War, where the Agraines were serving as garrison troops in Antigonid forts. Thank you for watching and listening to our videos. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe if you've enjoyed. All sources are listed and linked in the description below. I've been the Ancient History Guy, and as always, I'll be seeing you later.